right, everybody. Yes, it's daylight savings time for you across the pond there and in the United States. So we'll apologize for that to get started. Just to get this started here. Let me try to clear up some of that lighting issue. That looks better. All right, thank you. Clear that. Okay, that's not so shadowy. All right, everybody. From Riyadh, let me just get my stream going over at the radio station here. And we will just go into a short 2 minutes thing here. We'll just do the weather real quick. We'll then get on with the show. All right, everybody. From Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, this is The Fetch, and you are indeed live inside the eye. Today's date is Saturday, Pi Day, March the 14th, 2026. And a good Saturday morning to all of you listening out there in the United States and Canada. And a good late afternoon to early evening to everybody listening in European and West Asian time zones. And a good late Saturday night to everybody listening in the Far East. And of course, wherever you are listening out there I just learned this now. We also have some FM stations now carrying the show. So on our FM and micro FM broadcasting nations and all across the internet, we want to welcome you. All right. It is. Again, well, first, let's do the weather real quick. We apologize first because we're late. I guess it's daylight savings time. We got one of the FM broadcasting stations called me, says, "Hey, Fetch, it's daylight savings here, dude. Where are you?" And honestly, I didn't know, so I apologize. I didn't know, and I just didn't see any messages. So anyways, it's not the first time if you've been listening over the years. It's actually happened to me a long time ago back in Jordan, and unfortunately, I didn't know, so I'm late. Anyways, we enjoying your Saturday morning. Weather here was kind of warm today, 84 degrees under sunny skies. We had a breeze about 10, 12, 14 miles per hour coming out of the southeast, which doesn't help me a lot here. All of my windows are either north, west, or south facing, so I don't really get that breeze too much into the house here. But nonetheless, it's been a nice breeze if you're on the other side of the building. And what can I say? It's going to get down to, what is it going to get down to? Let me see here. There's the break. All right, we're going to get down to about 64 degrees. And then with that, we'll start really the show right after the break. This is The Fetch Inside the Eye Live. Back right after this. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's The Fetch Inside the Eye Live, intelligent media for the politically aware. It is, again, March. That's just Fetch, okay? March the 14th, 2014. It is, of course, Pi Day. And Pi Day is, if you are familiar with the Fetch back in the old days, I was doing my ISISian codes and all kinds of crap about how English is a hyper representation of pi. Actually, it really is. If you understand how English works, it's actually encoding pi right before your face. Here's how you can know. Just take your alphabet, just get your pencil and paper out. Take your asymmetrical letters and your symmetrical letters. And then you write out pi to 32 digits. I actually know this pretty well in my head. Now, if you go to 32 digits, the first two-number digit to repeat in pi is the number 26. How many alpha letters in our alphabet? I know not everybody's American here, but 26, okay? On the left-hand side of the 26, we have a three-digit repeating sequence, 793238. And on the right, we have a 383279, which are 6 digits. Look at English. We have 6. Ouch. Get out. Man, I'm barefooted and my cats are eating my feet, thinking it's something to play. All right. So you have 6 repeating digits. Now, what you have in the English alphabet is you have B, C, D, E, F, and G. Those are all asymmetrical. Then on the other side, you have T, U, V, W, X, and Y. Those are symmetrical. Now, those are going to actually think about it. If we shift the alphabet around and we start with J, you're going to have JKL, which are asymmetrical, which is 3. Then we have N, which is 1. Then we have PQRS, which is 4. Then we have Z, which is 1. And then we have B, C, D, E, F, and G, which is 6. That creates 3.1416. And because there is a mathematical transposition at the letters H and P, HP isn't just a picture company. It's kind of like an esoteric secret here. If you take the triangular number of H or 8, it's 36. The triangular number of P, which is at 16, which is 136. They're both embedding the 36. You combine the P and the H, you get the sound of the F sound, and 6 is, of course, the letters F, and F is the square of 6. So you have this nice, tight, closed steganographic loop inside of the English language. So then We're going to close it up at G, which was the 6. It ends up with HI, but since there's a H to P transposition, it just literally signs off as saying, I'm pi. I'm pi. Don't trust these other charlatans out there to know what they're talking about. The actual creator of this whole system was myself. And those of you who followed me all those years, you know exactly who and what I am talking about. So anyways, it is Pi Day. English, of course, is a hyperdimensional representation of pi. It is not random as the Saussurians and the modern linguistics guys would have you to believe. It is actually highly motivated language, and yours truly actually spent about 11,000 hours. Yeah, I had a lot of time on my hand back in the day, but I actually did break that code, and I know it instinctively how it all works. So starting in the second hour, we'll do a little perspectives piece on Rumble, and you can actually, we'll discuss some more about this. All right. We are broadcasting. You know what I love about you guys? Seriously. I get a call from basically in one of the FM stations. Let's just say that he's got an FM station in the Midwest, up in the Wisconsin area, I understand. So he calls me up. He says, "Hey, Fetch, I monitor your show because I simulcast you, and it's daylight savings time in America." And I'm like, "Shh." I'm sitting there, washing my hair, trying to look pretty, because I'm doing video with Rumble and all that stuff. And then I go into Rumble and I check it. Like, okay, now I'm going to have to do this, readjust it because I set it for 7 o'clock p.m. local time. Let me see if we're even live on Rumble now. We should be, but let me take a look. I'm just kind of curious. We screwed up the start of the show anyways. Okay, but nonetheless, first I go into my Inside the Eye Live, the chat room at Inside the Eye Live. And hello, everybody there. And it's like almost humming there. Then I go into Rumble. It's like 30 people are just sitting there waiting. I'm like, shh, how awesome is that? I'm late by half hour and you guys are actually sitting there waiting for me. Rumble. But that is what's really cool about this show. You guys actually come to the show itself. And that is very, very cool. Let me go podcasts. And let me go to podcast. Let me click on the podcast segment section here. I broadcast in the podcast segment for the most part. And right now, I don't show us showing up on the list yet. I don't show. So let me just take a look. I want to see if we're live. I have no idea. Inside the Eye Live is the channel at Rumble. Shows you how attuned I am to this, guys. Inside the Eye Live. We're up to 103 followers, by the way, which is really cool. Yes, we are live. That is awesome, guys. You guys are actually sitting there waiting, even though I'm a half hour late. That is such a tribute to you guys, the listener. Also to the show, though. Also to both of us. It's a very big tribute to what we do here. So already we're up to 38 concurrents. Again, I'm trying to catch Lee. Lee Rogers over at InfoStormer, former owner of Oracle Broadcasting. He had a show. I think I was beating him at Oracle, but just barely. We were kind of like running even. But he was a daily, I was a weekly, and he's killing me. He's got like 170 concurrents right now on Rumble and doing very well. And I'm sitting at around, when it ramps up, we'll get maybe upwards of 30. No, we're going to get more than that. But say 55 to 60. So we got to increase that a little bit here. We're trying to build this up again after 10 years of being blackmailed everywhere. We were off of YouTube. We were off of X. We were literally just blackmailed everywhere. Blackballed, delisted, deplatformed, whatever the case may be. All right. So basically, guys, what's going on? What is happening? Let me just explain. First of all, I was expected to travel this week. I was supposed to be in the Philippines. I was supposed to do this show from somewhere in the Laguna province, which is near Los Baños. I was going to do it from my new farm even. I was thinking of going out to the farm and just like setting up the lights, and just using my cell phone and hope it works, that type of thing, and just kind of having the creek on the backside and just kind of just relax on my farm and do it from there. But I didn't make it. All the flights ended up getting canceled 2 days before I was supposed to leave. I worked my tail off trying to find alternate routes out of here. Just could not do it. I looked at ways like I was going to go to Istanbul, into Almaty, up in Kazakhstan over to China. Could not do it. I was looking to go to Thailand, either Phuket or Bangkok and come down that way. I could not do it. The flights into China, Guangzhou, were just ridiculously expensive, impossible. Cairo, no, it didn't work. Istanbul, it did not work. Dubai, of course, was shut down pretty much all week. We didn't trust doing Dubai. What else? Qatar was the airways are closed. Qatar's only running at this point in time emergency flights. They've increased it a bit, but they're only running like one flight a day to Manila, and it's mainly to get people out. You can't fly in and then connect to that flight. So the air corridors here coming out of Saudi, heading towards east, are somewhat kind of restricted still. I think you can get into Dubai. I think so, but my advisors here and close colleagues are saying, Dennis Fetch, boss, whatever, we wish you kind of don't go into Dubai. We don't want to see you get stuck there. And frankly, it's a possibility, with what's going on here in the Middle East with Pete Hegseth acting like he's some gung ho, I don't know, football coach or something like that. And we're going to get into that later in the show. But it's very difficult still to this day. So I had to do what we call a visa clearance run. That was part of the trip. I got to clear my visa anyways. Let me go to the Philippines. I will then make a trip into China for other projects that I have working. I was going to spend 2-3 weeks, probably from Shanghai, maybe Chengdu, some other cities in China, doing the show from there. But I just could not honestly get out of here. It was not possible. And so now we are not, I wouldn't say stuck, but it's going to be a difficult challenge to get out at a fair price. You can get out, but you're going to have to pay a very big premium right now to get out of Saudi Arabia to the markets I need to go to. There was some rumors coming out of Dubai yesterday. There was an A380 flying out of Dubai yesterday, and it had a total of 50 people on board. Now, an A380 is a giant aircraft. I think it seats about 550 people, some ridiculous thing like that. There's a guy stating that he was literally the only person in first class, 45 people. I mean, if you're the stewardesses, the flight attendants on that on that plane, you're happy, man. You're flying, you ain't got to work, man. It's relaxing. I feel bad sometimes when you get a full plane on these long haul flights, and these ladies and the guys also nowadays, you're serving a plane load of people. If you've ever flown a lot, typically what will happen is they will serve the meals about an hour and 45 minutes to land time, something like that. So they want to eat, clean up all in about 45 minutes to no more than an hour, then do a blow through the cabin, pick up all the trash, and then the last 20 minutes you're preparing everybody, you're in final descent, and then you land. That's kind of how international flight works. It's that type of cycle. But these ladies must have been happier than heck, and the flight guys, the flight attendants, they must have been quite happy on that flight. We also had a flight coming out of Dubai. Yeah, I think Dubai, that actually had to turn around. They were basically running into a missile barrage. So it had to actually turn around and go back and wait for this barrage to end. As you know, Iran has been announcing that they may start to just do more continuous cycles of missile launches, like every keep it going for 3 hours, something like that. So I know everybody is trying to work on the air corridors here, and it's not an easy task. And I wouldn't want to be tasked with trying to solve it. Actually, I would, because I like challenges, but it's got to be a tremendous challenge to get everything going. All right, so guys, if you want to follow along on the show, 4 different ways to do this. One is InsideTheEyeLive.com. Click on the live chat button. There's also a live player there, media player there, so you can pick it up off of Revolution.radio. You can go to Revolution.radio and pick it up on the feed there at Revolution.radio. We're going out live on Rumble at Inside the Eye Live is the channel. That's Inside the Eye Live. We passed the 100 follower mark already after about 10-12 weeks, which is really great, because now I theoretically can apply to their partner program, which I will be doing. I have tried already, but they do not accept so far my Saudi phone number, so I have not been able to actually get myself verified there. I don't mind verifying myself. I'm a public figure. People know who I am. I can't hide, so I'm not too worried about that. It's all business at the end of the day. But I just couldn't get it done. I don't know if it's Rumble. I've sent things to Rumble, meaning emails, and they said, please try again. If you can't get through, contact us. So I've done some anti-blocking stuff on my cell phone here to cut back on advertising. See if that will work. I'll check on that later tonight or tomorrow. So anyways, check it out on Rumble at Inside the Eye Live. It's now broadcasting out live. Now we're going to be going for still the regular 2.5 hours now because we're doing a radio slot at revolution.radio. And then from there, we will continue. Probably if the numbers are good at Rumble, we'll do another bonus half-hour segment. All right. First news relative to the distribution channels. As you know, a lot of you out there used to pick up this show at a website called grism.blogspot.com. We helped really build Grism. We were huge there back in the early teens, 2010, not 10, 2014, 15, 17. We were getting back then, honestly, 8, 9, 10,000 downloads a show. We were on FM broadcasting stations, 16 different stations. We were reaching a lot of people. And back in the day, you may not understand that, but I bet you it's because I didn't disconnect something. Hold on. Where's Discord? Yeah, okay, you're unblocked. I didn't undo the radio station. Let me take it here. Let me see. Hey, good afternoon. I bet you guys were complaining about being muted, right?
Yeah.
All right.
There.
Right. It's unblocked. As soon as I get the phone call, I know.
All right, cool.
I'm just klutzy, man. I need a producer. I'm the guy behind the mic, behind the camera now. Yep. Writing my scripts. I need a producer. What can I say? If I had a producer, I probably would go a lot smoother. We're still
you need a Jewish producer like all those big talk shows.
I need a big oy vey guy, man. We need a guy with a big noise and big oy vey, man. He needs to bring in some big stuff. Thanks, man. We'll be in touch after the show.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so sorry about that to Rev Radio. You got to go over to Rumble, I guess. We tried to do both. Believe me, it's not on purpose. It's not on purpose. But the Rumble guys are saying, yeah, it's pretty good here, guys. It's pretty good here. But nonetheless, what we were saying is that the show used to be out there going out on a place called grism.blogspot.com. That got deplatformed about a week and a half ago. Finally, Google did take it down. It is now up, same feel, same look, not the same spread because there's not as many people contributed right now. But Zaphopper has revived the site, so you can also pick up the show there. And we recommend you go check it out. Zaphopper does a great job doing curating of content. He cleans up all these mistakes like you're getting right here. So the product, when it goes out very, very well in good quality type of stuff. He cleans everything up. But he's now at Zaphopper, Zapopper. That's zaphopper.blogspot.com. That's zaphopper.blogspot.com. Now, I did offer to pay for a website for him, because he's done so much great work. Honestly, he's part of that underground dissident network that the Fetch came out of, and he's done a lot of great work over the years. And, he's been deplatformed from PayPal. He's been deplatformed from actually doing his own stuff on archive.org. He has my account, actually, and he is allowed to upload on my account. Archive has not banned me. They did take down a lot of my interviews from like 2014 to 2019, however. So anyways, that's the latest. Telephone lines you want to call in is going to be 213-401-2617. That's 213-401-2617. All right. We talked about the flight canceled. Now, yesterday, I had to actually do what's called a visa run. So what I did is I got on a train and I went to Dammam. And from Dammam, I spent like $100, guys, just to go to the border with Bahrain. You hire a vehicle, basically a private guy. He takes you across the border into Bahrain, and then just turn around and come back, and that's how you clear your visa. That's called a visa run. Everybody knows what's going on, but it's just called a visa run. So the guys in Bahrain, the customs, not the customs, but the immigration people at Bahrain, very friendly, very, very nice man. He said, "How long are you staying here?" I think he didn't want to hear that I was staying there for a long time. I said, "Honestly, I'm just doing a visa run. We're gonna turn around and just go right back." He said, "Okay." So he charged me like five Bahraini dinar or whatever the case is, and I think it comes out to $15. And I just came in and I haven't even checked the stamp yet. I know he stamped. I didn't check the Bahrain stamp. But anyways, I was in Bahrain for a short second yesterday. I come back, and of course, the war here is a very serious issue, and I don't see it going away very soon. Now, there's been very interesting developments. None of it is confirmed, but I think the first development that is interesting is the idea that Bibi and Ben Gavir are no longer here. They've been unalived. I have not seen anything today that contradicts this. Okay, I haven't seen that they are alive. I have not seen that they are unalived. Haven't seen anything about this, but the Iranians have been all over it. Now the Russians. I lost a half hour of preparation, guys. I lost a half hour. Let me go to my X channel. Go to X. I pin a lot of stuff on X. Okay, you can follow me at X, by the way, at the Daily Fetch or Inside the Live. You can check Daily Fetch or Inside the Eye Live. Let me go to bookmarks. By the way, we'll get into that shooting also in Bloomfield, wherever this thing was. What a cluster F that is. But yeah, here it is. According to some ladies coming out here, I don't know how accurate this is, but she's saying here, it's too long. I'll just read it. According to Russian intelligence, according to this lady, okay. First of all, not the Russians, but a lot of people are now calling this Operation Epstein Fury, and Epstein Fury is such that essentially. Did it reconnect? I think it did, but I don't know. See, what happens is that I think just a side check here, sidestep, is that Rumble likes to do advertising, so they'll insert the advertising, and while they're doing that, you disconnect your live stream real quick. So I think we're still live. I hope we're still live. I saw it disconnect, but I didn't see it reconnect. But I think it just reconnects. It does a pretty good job. Anyways, where were we? Okay, the Russians. Operation Epstein Fury. There, it just reconnected. So that was probably an advertisement. Just my guess. Okay, guys, just my guess. Okay, so the ADL is coming out and saying if you call it Operation Epstein Fury, it's anti-Semitic. You know, I hear Jews pop off like this, like, okay, are all of you Jews out there associated with Epstein? Like, I remember back in the day, right? If you guys remember the old days of the internet, 2012, 2010, what we would have to do is they would like, you can't put all Jews together because that's anti-Semitic. So, okay, well, they're Jews, right? And yeah, they're Jews. Okay, so am I incorrect by saying Jews? Well, you're not technically incorrect, but you can't say all Jews. I didn't say all Jews. I said Jews. You're the one that used the word all. I said Jews. You're throwing Jews and all Jews together. It's like, listen, I understand how I'm using my language. It's my language after all. And I'm telling you how I'm using my language. So why do you have a problem with what I'm saying? When I say Jews, they're Jews. That's it. I'm not saying all Jews. I'm not saying 97% of the Jews, although probably it is. But nonetheless, I'm just saying Jews. That's it. Hey, our friend is back. Ling Ning. Ling Ning. Ling Ning. Ling Ning is, of course, the show mascot. And now that I'm live, she's decided to stop sleeping in the room and she's come over to say hi. You want to come say hi? You want to say hi? Not yet. I think she will in a second, though. She's like scoping out the table, the desk here. Let's see what she does. Let's see. She's like, there she goes. She's going to pop. She's going to pop in screen. There she goes. All right. All right. She just popped in screen. All right. Good job, Ling Ning. She didn't get a great view, man, but you got to get in frame, man. Anyways, the point here is this. if you say it's Epstein Fury, you see, back in the days, you have to name them. You have to name. You can't say Jews. You have to name every single individual Jew. Otherwise, you can't say anything. I'm like, who the hell are you? Some Jewish guy whose Yiddish is your real language from a DNA sequence that has nothing to do with our culture and our language, telling us how to use our language. Yeah, OBS is like disconnecting a lot right now. So anyways, I'm not sure why. But we're just going to keep moving, everybody. We have no choice. So go. Thank you. Where were we? The issue of Jews. So now, like if you name them, like if you call it Epstein Fury, Epstein Fury, we've named the Jew. And because we've named the Jew, they're saying it's anti-Semitic also. Well, how can it be anti-Semitic? We just named the Jew for you. We're just talking about Epstein. But okay, so the reality of it is that Jews want zero criticism of any Jew. If you're a criminal, you're a rapist, a child rapist, child sacrificer. Oh, geez, come on. OBS just keeps disconnecting. And that's a Rumble issue, not me. It could be my internet. Let me plug this thing in and see. All right, let's try that one. Let's plug this in and maybe get it more energy going to the... I have no idea, guys. I really don't know. But nonetheless, where were we? Yeah, all the Jews, Epstein Fury. So I'm not even sure how you can call this quote unquote anti-Semitic. The issue is that Jews just want zero criticism of anybody who's Jewish. They believe that essentially they're above the rest of us. Nobody can judge them but them. And because of that, well, too bad. We're Jews. Shut up, Goyim. Do what we tell you to do. And you will all get along just fine. Anyways, it's the fetch, everybody. Break's already here. That's cool. Back with more right after this. All right, everybody, welcome back. I was having, just so you know, we were having some stability issues with Rumble. So we have gone over to a secondary circuit, bypassing our primary circuit. And I see that now it is coming out okay. It's doing much, much better. So again, we are always monitoring this. I'm trying to talk at the same time, and don't ask me how I do it, but I do it. And nonetheless, it's now looks like it's going out very, very, very strong. It's gonna chew up my internet, man. I'm on metered services here. I'm gonna have to start taking donations here. It chews up my internet like every 2 weeks. It's crazy. Doing the live radio, doing the live Rumble feed. So, and I'm not even joking. It chews it up. It's like, damn, because of the visa I have here, I can't get fiber. So I'm on basically a cell phone internet, which used to be pretty good, cost and service wise, but they've cut back on the bandwidth that you're allowed to use. So I can't get unlimited internet anymore. It's measured. And even though I pay a lot of money for it, it just eats it up in about 2.5 weeks. So it kind of sucks. All right, let's return back. First of all, if you're just joining us here, we were supposed to start not at 7 o'clock local time, but 6 o'clock local time, because at daylight savings time in America, we go out typically at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern in the United States to 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern in the U.S. So now I know next week I got to start at 6 o'clock. Actually, that's okay for me because even though it cuts into my afternoon, I finish earlier. You know what I mean? I finish it at 9 o'clock at night instead of 10 o'clock at night. So that's actually a very, very good thing. All right. So join us over at Rumble. Let me see if Rumble's even working anymore. Rumble. Inside the iLive, not now, at Rumble. I'm pulling it up now, guys. I need a producer. If we get this bigger, yeah, we're doing great, by the way. No complaints. We're doing very well with Rumble, and we're doing very well, of course, over at Revolution Radio. It's just logging in now. I had to relog because I'm using a secondary circuit. So it's just pulling up all the data now through the second circuit. All right, there it goes. And here, do we show up immediately? And then I won't have to look. We do not show up at all. We will, but we don't right now. Podcasts. Where's my podcasts? Oh yeah, we are live. Okay, we're doing great. Okay, yeah, we're actually top 4 right now, so that's very good. Okay, so guys, continue to, man, OBS keeps discontinuing today. Why, Yannis? Why? Yeah, for whatever reason, we're just losing the frames. We're not able to keep a strong connection to Rumble today at all. I mean, it is not just weak, it's exceedingly weak. So that's going to suck. But don't worry. Don't worry too much. We actually are recording it locally. We put it up again over at YouTube and also at BitChute. But for whatever reason, Rumble, the circuit to Rumble today is very, very, very unstable. And don't ask me why. See, it just keeps disconnecting, reconnecting, disconnecting, reconnecting. OBS disconnected, reconnecting. Why? Why? Nothing I can do about it right now because we're mid-show. But now I feel like turning into a engineer and trying to figure this out. It's just not reconnecting. Okay, and they're reconnected. Okay, hopefully that's advertising, and you guys are not getting hit too badly. But anyways, it is what it is. All right, let's get back to where we were. First of all, the war here is not easy. I want to first talk, I think, about the American side. I got cats, man. They're crazy. All right. Yeah, please. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. All right, I got some tea here, guys. That's a great thing. All right. Let me give you some stats first on what's happening according. It's just early in the week, and that is this. Okay, according to Russian intelligence, and again, we don't know about this, but I don't buy for 1 second that the U.S. has only had like 13 casualties. I just don't buy it. I'll give you a true story. As a lot of you know, I was involved in certain things in Iraq. Not that I was personally, physically like on the inside, but I was very close to the inside, like really, really, really close. And I remember a friend of mine, he came out of Iraq. He said, Dennis, the media is lying. I said, what do you mean? And he said, I went by a checkpoint and there were 40 U.S. vehicles completely obliterated. And when the news came out, they said there were only 6 dead. And he said, there's no way, with the way these vehicles were smashed the way they were, where they were, that there were only 6 dead. The media has to be lying. The deaths had to be way more than just 6, something like that. I don't know if it's 6, 8 back in the day. This is 2007, 8, like this, right? And like our military and our media is saying there's only like maybe 13 dead now, something like that, with the KC-135 going down yesterday. It's like there's no way, guys. There's just no way. It just cannot. I don't believe it. Now, I'm not saying it's not true, but I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Now, according to Russian intelligence, according to this report, again, and the secondhand information, there were, in the early days of this operation, 6 Israeli generals were killed. Now, you remember, Trump is talking about how the leadership of Iran is completely obliterated. They've been destroyed. Well, so is this happening to the Israelis also. You had 6 Israeli generals. This is just in the first couple of days. You had 32 Mossad agents, 78 Shin Bet operatives, 198 Air Force officers, 462 U.S. soldiers, 11 nuclear scientists, and 423 reserve guards for the first few days of this operation. Now, I would say that's probably more accurate now. Now it's even gotten to the point that Ben-Gvir, who's one of these extreme radicals, is confirmed dead. They say he died in a car crash. Okay, whatever, he's dead. They're saying that Benjamin Netanyahu is dead, not confirmed. There was an interesting tweet that went out, X-post that went out the other day. It was immediately deleted almost instantly, that said, there's rumors out there. Don't believe the rumors. We're trying to get in contact It's like, okay, they've lost contact with their prime minister then, but this was immediately taken down. Now, this could also be fake. Remember, social media, especially X, is rife with a lot of fake stuff. A lot of fake stuff. It's very hard to penetrate just what's happening inside of X just straight up. There's so much fake information. But you did have, let's say, this video of Netanyahu, and it does appear like he's got 6 fingers. Okay, that's kind of bizarre. All right, I looked at it many times and yeah, that does look like 6 fingers. You can try to explain it away and gaslight me all you want, but that looked like 6 fingers there. So yeah, that looks like this may be an AI generated thing. So whether Netanyahu is there or not, we don't know. Israel, for the most part, is getting absolutely smashed. But what's interesting about Israel getting smashed is at the same time, if you're following the social media narratives out there, you will have Israeli influencers. They're sitting on balconies, pristine pictures of Tel Aviv off in the background, or you have women inside their apartments mocking how, oh, Israel's just completely on fire, just mocking the idea that Israel's on fire, like, no, this is all lies. And I'm like, at the end of the day, if Israel's getting smashed, how stupid are you to sit there and try to convince me that it's not? Because at the end of the day, who cares? Do you think I care? Yeah, now I prefer Tel Aviv gets completely leveled. I have said that many times, but I have said it's not the Iranians who should do it. We Americans should have done it. Our military should have done it. Now, you can go ahead and spare the few civilian areas in Tel Aviv, but the reality of it is that the Jewish government does embed a lot of its strategic military infrastructure right in with the civilian population. They don't see a separation of civilian and military assets here. It's all the same to them. So if you're going to hit, let's say, a bunker filled with a bunch of generals, it's smack dab in the middle of Tel Aviv where you're going to take out a lot of other people equally. So generally, most of the crap that we were fed during Gaza about what the Hamas group was doing, that is Israel. They were just projecting onto Hamas what Israel actually does. So we have heard many, many stories now of top senior leadership inside of, especially in the military ranking, being taken out in Tel Aviv. Now, if you want to be an Israeli mocking, scoffing moron, while your cities and your country's getting obliterated, I don't care. Frankly, I think you're insulting. I think you're ignorant. Not ignorant. I think you're arrogant. I think you're a psychopath. I think you're stupid. I do think you're stupid. I think you're a moron. I do think that. I mean, what moron gets up and says, oh, everything is great. Everything is fine. Oh, wow. And in the meantime, 15 blocks away, it's completely obliterated. But your area is not affected. Oh, okay. Everything is fine in your area. So I'm like, just keep blowing the shit out of the place. You know what? The only way to shut people up like that is to just bring it to their doorstep. Because if you're going to gaslight people, you know what I mean? If you're going to get onto the social media and you're going to start gaslighting everybody about everything is just fine. Oh, it's great. Wonderful. Okay, fine. Bring it to your doorstep. Because frankly, to gaslight me is to insult me, to impinge upon my intelligence. And that is a big F you to me. That's what they're saying to all of us. F you. Here's what's really going on. But they're just gaslighting like a bunch of psychopaths. Bring it to their doorstep. Just consider them to be part of the narrative. They are essentially propagandists, part of the war effort then. That's what the Israelis do. If you're a media personnel, they'll take you out. They've killed 240 people in Gaza, meaning press people in Gaza. Some ridiculous figure like that. So, okay, just bring it to their doorstep. I really don't care. Seriously, I don't care. All right, let me go into some of this other observations here about this war. There's well, first let me go into the tactical point of it, because I finally saw, I'm like, dudes, if you remove the Israeli Air Force, then Israel is nothing. It's literally nothing without their Air Force. They don't have a ground military. What their ground military is are a bunch of reservists. They are moderately trained. Their tactics really aren't so good. If you take away really the Israeli Air Force, then what's going to happen is you can easily defeat Israel. Israel is essentially a dominant air power in the Middle East. We can't argue that. They really are. They are armed with some of the best technology America has produced. Is it the best in the world? I can't get into that, but it's still really good material for the most part. And I'm like, guys, you're blowing up Tel Aviv. Maybe you're going after strategic military targets inside Tel Aviv. And if so, that's all great, well and good. We get it. You need to take out the leadership also. But you need to take out the Air Force. So there's two ways to stop a lot of the Air Force from attacking. One, you have to push the carriers, meaning because the U.S. and Israel are the same here. There is, let's be honest, Israel and the U.S. are the same country. We are controlled by Israel, and everybody's starting to understand that. But one would be to push the carriers so far away that the jets are almost useless. That's getting close to being accomplished. Second would have been to take out a lot of the radar so that Americans are blind. They've pretty much done most of that now. Even this morning, yesterday night, today, the radar, anti-drone radar, close air combat radar system that was sitting on top of the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad was actually taken offline. It was attacked and destroyed, I think last night or yesterday, maybe it was today. But now that radar is down. You have a lot of this long range, the THAAD radar, the stuff that can see 5,000 kilometers, away, well up into the stratosphere, exosphere, as they like to say. These have been taken offline. It is so bad for the United States that they have now disassembled 4 of their THAAD units, and they're removing them from Korea and now moving those to the Middle East. So the Koreans are like, you know what? We lost literally tens of billions of dollars making a decision to host these THAAD devices here. When they did, because the radar once again penetrates 5,000 kilometers into the air, that THAAD system was literally scanning all of northeastern China. And the Chinese say, hey, screw this. That's cutting away from our early warning systems equally. We don't want this here. So they told the Koreans, look, no more tourists for you. So Korean tourism fell off, meaning Chinese going to Korea. Hyundai and Samsung, heavy industries, and some of their lighter industries were forced to basically divest and move out of China. A big diplomatic split, of course, between the two countries. And mind you, if you think about it, if you're Korean, why would you want to piss off China? If you're Ukraine, why would you want to piss off Russia? If you're Poland and Germany, why would you want to piss off Russia? If you're America, why would you want to piss off Canada, etc.? Why would you want to piss everybody off? At the end of the day, you need jobs, you need business, you need commerce. All this has to go along and move. If there's no movement of any goods, there's no movement of the economy. So Korea lost a ton of money, and now America is moving post haste all of their THAADs and moving it to the Middle East. And the Russians are probably sitting there going, okay, bring it. We're just going to destroy it. We'll show Iran where they are. We'll give the Iran the coordinates. We will do what we can to assist them with any type of technology, and we're going to take out all the THAADs. Okay, fine. Now, the next step would be how do you stop the Air Force from coming into your area? Well, you started to take the U.S. military bases out. You took it out, let's say, in Al Udeid, in Kuwait, in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Iraq, and all these bases are getting hit very heavily for the express purpose of trying to push the United States out of the region. Now, I understand we had a fairly large, we being the Americans, had a fairly large, we being the Israelis, I should say, had a fairly large troop evacuation from Kuwait. We had a very massive base there in Kuwait. Our military in Iraq is just getting hammered day in and day out. They're just sitting ducks, essentially. A little bit of protection, sitting ducks with a reasonable amount of armor around them, but they're sitting ducks. Let's see. Abu Dhabi's getting hit every day. Dubai's getting hit every day. And if you're a U.S. military personnel here in the Middle East, it's got to suck because you really don't have anywhere to go. But while I was in Bahrain yesterday, there was an attack on Prince Sultan Air Base. Now, I've talked about it many times. Guys, I taught at Prince Sultan Air Base for 6 years, okay? From 2013 to 2019, I was teaching at Prince Sultan. I was part of the digital content development team for creating English proficiency so that they could read U.S. technical manuals. And generally over there, very few people can actually read the manuals. Just the senior level people that spend time, let's say in San Antonio, are able to actually read the technical manuals and understand what's going on. After that, the technicians, for the most part, they can read some, but they're not all that proficient. So you have to keep them always working to keep their English at a proficient level. If they don't reach that proficiency, oftentimes they're taken offline. But anyways, as part of that, I knew some of the top commanders there, not the top commander necessarily, but people that were pretty key. So I would get to go and talk to the different units, find their needs. I could go many places inside the base just so I could fulfill my role as a digital trainer, content developer, and so I know it. I know where the aircraft are parked. You know what I mean? I know where the Royal aircraft are parked. I know where the U.S. aircraft are parked. I know where the C-130s are parked. I know where the I know everything about the base. So when I hear it's been hit, it's like, damn, because I know the base. I know the people. And just yesterday, Prince Sultan Air Base was hit and 5 tankers were actually damaged. They're quote unquote under repair, but 5 were damaged. All right. We had I think 13 KC 135s in region. Now 5 are damaged. One was shot down, apparently. They're saying no, it was an accident or whatever. Okay, whatever. It was taken down. And then another one was badly damaged on the vertical tail fin, but it did make it back to Israel. So in one day, 7 tankers were taken out. If you can remove the tanker fleets, guys, the aircraft from Israel cannot get to Iran and make it back unless they're going to fly out of, let's say, Jordan, or they're going to fly out of areas of Iraq or Azerbaijan. They're just not going to make it back. Now, there was a scene yesterday on flight radar tracking where a lot of the tankers were working in northeastern Saudi Arabia. And as a process of that, you could actually see the aircraft. Now it takes, I don't know how many minutes, but one tanker can serve, I think, maybe 8 aircraft, something like that, maybe as much as 16. Don't quote me on these figures. I had done the research. I've just forgotten it all. But nonetheless, I think with the tanker fleet we had, we could sustain 220 aircraft. Now it's down for sure because we've lost 7 aircraft. So, okay, I don't know how much now we've lost in air power, but just imagine it's quite extensive now what we continue to lose as Israelis, because it's not America anymore. It's really Israel. Israel is basically controlling the United States and its military. And until the U.S. military can actually get America first people in there, it's just going to be that way. Let me now move over real quick to observations about Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, I was wondering, first off, to backtrack a little bit, where was all of this information about Pete Hegseth talking? Yeah, okay, that's not the one. I'm looking for a. It's no. Uh, I don't listen to the guy much. Obviously, he's very big now. Nick Fuentes, by the way. But I don't play him though. His clips are too long. Marjorie Taylor. I'm looking for something from Tucker. Tucker. Maybe it's not here. Tucker, where are you? Tucker. I don't see it, but Tucker was talking about rebuilding the temple. And he got a lot of heat for that. But then there's a clip circulating like from Pete Hegseth in 2018 speaking about this exact same thing. So it's like, okay, guys, why are you upset? Your minister of, or your secretary of war literally was talking about rebuilding the temple like in 2018. And this guy was literally groomed to be in that position. So let's see. And this was before. Okay, so we'll skip that for now. But what disturbs me about Hegseth, and mind you, I'm older now, but when I was young, as I've spoken before, I was on a cross country team in high school. For instance, we were ranked number 2 in the state of California at the time. We were very good. I was third on the team. I was not first. I was not second. I was third. I was co-captain, but I was third of the team. Let me get into this because it has to deal with really the mentality of what happens when you get into these types of shooting competitions. All right, it's The Fetch, everybody. Back with more right after this. We're going to replay that piece with Chappelle on Rumble. Hopefully it's going to stick this time. Back right after this. All right, everybody. Welcome back. That's a piece that just started showing up here in Riyadh, at least on the YouTube piece of Chappelle, who Dave Chappelle did a show here recently about, he did it, he was in Saudi doing a show, and then there was a, he did a piece on it back in America about how he can speak more freely in Saudi than he can in America. And people were taking offense to that. Like, oh, but it's actually true. You can actually speak freely, much more freely here in Saudi Arabia than often you can in the United States or elsewhere in Western Europe, or the liberal democracies, as they might want to call it. And what can I say? Like Chappelle said in that piece, I don't think you got to hear it, but he said, now he can say things that normal Saudis can't say. That's actually true. As Americans, obviously we're very respectful, but we can say certain things that others cannot say. And there is an element to that. I think that's a fair thing. At least Saudis will make it sound like that. They'll say, you can say things we really can't say. So say it. Say it. Somebody's got to say it. So anyways, that was a good piece. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on the Rumble feed, join us at Rumble. Inside the Eye Live is the channel. That's Inside the Eye Live is a channel. Don't forget to like and, of course, subscribe. Become a follower of Inside the Eye Live. We're trying to just keep this thing going. We are doing really, really well, by the way. Excuse me. It's elite stuff, to be honest with you. Rumble's a good fit. To its credit, Rumble's a very good fit for Inside the Eye Live, and Inside the Eye Live, parenthetically or reverse, is a good fit for Rumble also. We do good deep dive material, radio type stuff, radio broadcasting type of information, style, technique, everything about the show fits what they're trying to do at Rumble, and of course the audience also fits what we're trying to do. So we're very, very happy with the audience there. Obviously, over at Revolution.radio, listeners sponsored and supported. Do what you can to keep that network alive, up, and running. We do appreciate all of your support there equally. To everybody who is simulcasting this on your FM and micro FM broadcasting networks, we've learned your back. Okay, that's great. We used to have 16 to 20, something like that, FM, micro FM broadcasting outlets running up and down the East Coast, primarily located in the Northeast, along the coast, the oceans, into the Midwest, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio. We had a pretty good niche distribution. We were doing I know for sure 16 radio stations we were involved in. So back in the day, back at our peak time, back in the pre-Trump days, and leading up into the Trump days, we were doing very well. Equally, we weren't doing terrestrial radio as regards, major AM, but we were not obviously, but we were getting some terrestrial coverage, and that's a great thing. So to those of you listening there, welcome to Inside the Eye Live. We hope you enjoy the effort, and we certainly appreciate you giving us some of your time on this Saturday morning. I swear to gosh. I have cats that literally just, you guys, go. They're having fun. I mean, they're just playing, and you'd probably be okay to enjoy them. It's just that I got cables everywhere. It's like I don't need them tearing things apart. So I need help. Help. I'm gonna get eaten alive by cats. All right. Back to what's happening here. I want to get back into Pete Hegseth. You know, first he was talking about building the temple like in 2018. What we're really learning now is that Marco Rubio, Witkoff, Hegseth, all of these guys were actually groomed by people like within or close to the ADL, Israel. These are essentially almost operatives, they're agents. And it's like Hegseth, I hope this goes out correctly. Let me check. Hegseth, he reminds me of a what do you call this? A high school coach, a football coach. He's treating war as if, you know, we're kicking their ass and look at us, we're doing so great. But as I learned when I was in sports was on any given day, you can be humbled. You know, just you can be humbled in any given day. So you never want to ever give your opponent the motivation to humble you. You know what I mean? You don't want to give them that extra edge psychologically. You don't want to try to make it sound like you're so tough that you're going to just beat them into the ground. It's a bad look. If you know what I mean, it's a bad way to deal with people. Look, war, and then you're doing it with war on top of it. Like we're just kicking the crap out of them, and everywhere we go, death is everywhere. How is this even normal talk? Because war should be a product, honestly, of, as they say, a politics. It's just another extension of politics, but it's your last resort. The last thing you want are these Talmudic jackasses running your military. They're reckless, they're callous, they're cowards, they're irrational in many cases, extremely irrational. It's like, what is the matter with this guy? Death everywhere, death, death. Dude, this isn't something to be proud of. It's not something as an American citizen who works with these people on a daily basis. We don't want to hear that crap from you. You make yourself look like an idiot. You make the country look stupid. You make the whole venture seem callous. Look, people are human. There are a lot of great human, let's just say, compassionate people everywhere in the world, and that includes the Middle East, and especially within their governments. It's like nobody wants to hear this crap. Here you've engaged in a war. You didn't consult anybody. You work with just Netanyahu. Who the frick is Netanyahu at the end of the day? Seriously, who is this guy? He's a two-bit piece of you-know-what crap. Because you're compromised? Because you're out there raping your daughter or you're raping kids and somehow we're supposed to all pay the price for you? And you're too weak to stand up to crap? And you're going to want Netanyahu to essentially engage the United States military, the United States people, and the rest of the world in a war that, frankly, nobody needed. You got Trump up there yesterday or the day before talking about how he had to attack because Iran's going to take over the whole Middle East. Nobody buys that shit. Seriously, nobody buys it. Everything here was a bit difficult in Iraq, but why? Because you had a bunch of idiotic morons from the Jewish community, took it over 2003, fired everybody, created this massive chaos. So they can create greater Israel, I guess. Better to create if you don't have these easier for greater Israel if you don't have all these strong city states or nation states together. Let's just balkanize them so then we can take it over easier. Nobody wants to have a bunch of Jews sitting in the backyard. I don't know if you've seen what's going on out there in like Thailand. I have explained to you time again on this show how crude and lewd and uncouth Jews really, really are. And now you have video coming out of, let's say, Thailand, where the locals are beating the crap out of Israeli tourists because the Israeli tourists are just Jews, okay? They're just Jews. And nobody wants that crap. Literally, nobody wants it. And then Jews are like, "Isn't this?" No, you people like crap. You're gonna get your head beat in. This isn't Israel. You're a guest in a country. You don't go into bars and start, harassing the women just because you think they're scantily clad. You can just do whatever you want. No, you just. There's ways to behave, dude. And you Jews don't know how to do it. So nobody wants Jews in their territory. Now, I've seen other issues going on here about the Middle East. People in Dubai are saying, like, we were very prosperous. We're doing very great. And listen, there's a lot of good things about Dubai, okay? A lot of good things about the UAE. These are what we call economic engines. If you're not familiar with an economic engine is what creates a lot of jobs for a disparate group of people. The United States used to be an economic engine, okay? It's providing all these jobs for all these people all over the world. Saudi is an economic engine. You're bringing in tons of expats, not just people like me, but many expats from India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Philippines, Sri Lanka, um, some Westerners, of course, like myself. Mm, these are your main countries, by the way, that are coming in, and they create a lot of jobs. They send money back home. They support millions and millions and millions of people. Okay, say what you want, but under the current system, millions, in fact, tens of millions of people around the world are supported by the income from the Middle East. It may not be as much as you think it should be, but whether you like it or not, still it's supporting tens of millions of people. Is it a hard life? Yeah. It's unfortunate. Yes. I'm going to agree with that. But at the same time, millions upon millions of people's lives depend on this income from the Middle East. And if they lose it, like they say, it's bad in India, but if I stay home, there's no money and I'm going to die anyways. So, okay. And let me die while trying to help my family. Okay. I guess that's kind of like U.S. military nowadays. Let me die so I can die for Israel, but at least I can feed my family. Same, I guess, same type of concept, just different layers of subservience. But nonetheless, guys, what people do not understand about the UAE, and especially Dubai, was they were in bed with the Israelis very heavily. There were rumors of vehicles from Dubai, like inside of Gaza. The UAE was working close hand in hand with the rebels in Ethiopia and Sudan. And now that this war has been going on, the supply line to the RSF rebels are cut. So now the government in Sudan is rolling back the rebels. And these rebels were basically working by and for and on the behalf of Dubai and the UAE. So this is, and people are very happy about this. These rebels were not the nicest people. Most insurgents are not the nicest of people, okay, guys? Generally speaking, they're not the nicest of people, okay? So this is all being rolled back now rapidly because you can't resupply them because of the war. And you cannot factor this reality out of the equation. And ours, part of the calculus was, okay, look, as Saudi, we can kind of look the other way. We will condemn, we will pretend, but at the end of the day, Iran's doing things for Saudi interests. That's a reality. Now, it may not be recognized. Is Saudi getting harmed? A little bit, especially with the bombing of Prince Sultan Air Base yesterday. But those are mainly what was hit were American assets. Okay, but what Saudi's doing is expending materiel to try to shoot down these weapons. So things are not as they always appear. There's always multiple layers going on subsurface to all this. So the people in the UAE and Dubai who are saying, people are just jealous of our success. No, actually, no. At the elite level, they're already way more successful than you. Okay, you're just a product of what these elites are putting into play. So you're not more successful than them. And if they see that Dubai needs to get spanked, well, guess what? They're going to spank them. Okay, this is just reality. The fact that you had a ton of U.S. bases working inside of Dubai just makes it even easier. All right, way easier. Then we had the bombing of like the central bank in Iran this week. So, okay, what's that? According to rumors, I don't know for a fact, but we've seen a big exodus of U.S. banking interests and Western banking interests leaving the UAE, which was a senior level banking hub around the world, just a primary banking hub. Now we see people leaving. There was a facility hit yesterday, I believe, with links to the banks. So the Iranians are like, look, you can go ahead and you can bomb our cities. You can go ahead and take out grandma. You can take out the grandkids. You can take out mom and dad who are not a party to the war, that are just regular old citizens. We're a big country, 90 million people. And we don't like it, but we'd rather you hit those facilities than strategic interest points. Like today, Trump announced that he hit Karj Island, and he says everything is obliterated. Now, if you've noticed, Trump and Hegseth, they're full of bluster. Everything is about obliteration, destroyed, death everywhere. They can't recover. And if we wanted to, we could take out everything tomorrow. We could just make them go dark tomorrow. And the Iranians are saying, look, if you take out our oil infrastructure, we're just going to take everything out in the region, and you can't stop us. And now they know it. The Americans know it. They can't stop it. Now, what the Americans have done, whether it's Israeli or American, it's the same party. They've made the banks a legitimate target. When you took out the building where the central payment structure for the government in Iran was managed through, then what you're basically saying is that banks are a fair target now. So that means HSBC and Citibank and I don't know what other banks. Citibank, I know Citibank is there. Let me think. Chase, I think Chase is here in the Middle East. Trying to think. Deutsche Bank, I think, is in the Middle East. But all of these people are now our direct targets. And that's because the U.S. or Israel are completely reckless. They don't have a plan. They don't have a strategy. They don't have a concept what they're doing. Just death everywhere. Like I said, death everywhere. Dude, that's not going to win you a war, man. And furthermore, you don't talk in the way you're talking because in any type of competitive situation, you can be humbled any day. And the last thing you want to do again is insult people to where they want to humble you. They want to take your words and shove them back down your mouth. And you shouldn't have this attitude that, oh, I'm the biggest, but look at me. I can do 47 push-ups times 5. Wow, I'm the greatest guy on planet Earth. Dude, nobody gives a shit. When you're bombing their children, when you're bombing their hospitals, you're taking out schools, you're taking out cultural centers. For instance, there was a center in Iran, and as you know, vaccines cause a lot of damage, and there's autism everywhere in the world. It's sad, but it's true. So there was a center inside of Tehran that served as a hub for autistic people to come congregate, involve themselves in activities, find some value with their lives, try to get some normalcy where sometimes maybe there's not too much. And the U.S. hits it. What frick, man? So what happened? Did you plug into AI? Give us a target list of any location where more than 10 people might actually be congregating. And then AI says, okay, this house here has mom, dad, grandma, and 16 kids from 2 or 3 families living. It's a good target. Hegseth's going, yeah, wow, we can kill 20 people with one bomb? Awesome, man. Let's go do it. Just send it through and they'll just sign off on it and we'll go hit that building tomorrow. Awesome. Death everywhere. Oh, death everywhere. I find it so disgusting. You launch this war, you don't factor in the carnage around the world you're going to cause because you had a feeling You literally throw the lives of tens and maybe hundreds of millions of people into a environment of uncertainty because you had a feeling that they were 2 minutes away from getting a bomb. And if you didn't bomb them that second, they were going to have a bomb. And we've, of course, heard that story for the last 45 years. Oh, if we didn't do something, they were going to take over the whole Middle East. How in the hell would Iran take over anything other than elements of Iraq? They're not that strong. What the hell? So what we're learning is that the leadership of the West, the leadership of America, is by and large delusional. They're filled with all of this Israeli-centric stuff, and it like makes absolutely zero sense. Like, what the hell's the matter with you guys? Seriously. Do you think you're going to bomb Iran into submission? Well, that's never happened in 80, 90 years of air warfare. It's never, ever happened. When's the last time America actually won a war? World War II. That's the last war they actually won. Okay? World War II. You're not going to beat Iran fighting the way you're fighting. Oh, you're going to move 2,500 or 5,000 Marines over to the Middle East. For what? You're going to go and put 5,000 Marines up against a population of 90 million people that are basically waiting for you? This isn't going to be like your little dinghy boats coming over into England and they're just going to land like without anything. Okay, all these dinghies, 20 guys just pop off the dinghy and rush the land. They ain't going to be waiting for you like you're just some immigrant invader. Not at all. And furthermore, what has to happen if Iran's really going to win this is they have to take out the air power. Now, I've heard figures as much as close to 20 drones now being taken out. 20. I think 11 Reapers and 7 Israeli drones, upwards of 20. These are essentially attack and surveillance platforms. Okay. You're taking out the eyes of the U.S. So the U.S. is sending over their B-2s based on their satellite information. Okay. Maybe some human intel. Okay, maybe. But you really think you're going to win? Iran's they probably calculated blast radiuses and all that. You think they're stupid people? Okay, what's a GBU bunker buster do? Well, how's it work? What is the expected blast radius of this? Okay, fine. Build this here, but make sure you move everything outside the blast radius. You think they're just sitting there waiting for you to bomb it? Really? You think everybody's this stupid that they don't have the foresight? This is their job at the end of the day, thinking of the military, right? You don't think they have the foresight to move the physical, the real important stuff outside of the blast radius? And I've been inside of these bunkers, guys. Usually it's not just a bunker, but you will have this giant steel door that can not slide, but shut, seal it down, and the blast radius isn't going to get through that door. It's just not going to get, unless you literally punch the hole through, it ain't going to get through. So there's so much going on here that the U.S. military is not telling the American people. It's all about, oh, we're winning. Trump is up to saying, oh, we're winning. There's no more targets. Everything is going great. Well, I hope it's going great if we keep seeing what's going on in Tel Aviv, and then we continue to see Tel Aviv getting razed to the ground, because it's not Tel Aviv getting razed to the ground. It's massive numbers of military targets in Tel Aviv getting hit. See how we can just redefine anything to say what we want. And it's not just Israel, but it's Hezbollah, or Iran, I should say, and Iran, etc., that are doing all this. So why would you deal with the Americans? Honestly, would you deal with a Trump? Would you deal with a Witkoff? Seriously? Imagine the fate of the world, right? The fate of the world, the fate of the economies of the Middle East was in the hands of Jared Kushner and Witkoff. Can you imagine? Hundreds of billions, let's say certainly tens of billions of dollars in commerce, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of let's say, currency flows. The whole thing was being negotiated by two two freaking morons, Kushner and Witkoff. And we went to war based on the input of two freaking Jewish morons. Literally. Kushner. Who the hell is Kushner? He doesn't even have a portfolio within the U.S., although I hear they're going to give him one. But he never had a freaking portfolio. Witkoff is a real estate developer. They already had the master plan to Gaza done before Netanyahu went and leveled the area. So they already knew they were going to level the area already before, October 7th, October 7th. You just hear them say October 7th 55,000 times a day. It's like, what the hell's the matter with you? Is this your new 9/11 or this is the new Holocaust? That Holocaust is costing a lot of money. Tremendous amounts, in fact. So I'm not impressed, guys. I'm not impressed with what I see going on here in the Middle East from the United States side. Did they ask? Now, again, remember, UAE was involved in some very dirty dealings in the Middle East with Gaza, with with Sudan, with Libya, with Yemen. There was, I guarantee you, at a very high level, there were reasons to get away with Dubai. It is a Fed, everybody. Back with more right after this. All right, everybody. I think we're back. It's the Fetch Inside the Eye Live. Intelligent media for the politically aware. It is Saturday again, Pi Day. March, I don't know why I keep saying May. I've been saying May all day, huh? March the 14th, 2026. Yours truly is technically, officially, I should say, stranded here in Saudi temporarily. I was supposed to fly out again Thursday morning, very early in the morning, land in Manila Thursday night, basically like 9 o'clock at night. And I need to undo this. Hold on. I keep forgetting the radio. Okay, sorry about that. Anyways, we're back. Anyways, I was supposed to land in Manila about 9, let's just call it 9 at night. Going to spend 3 days in Manila. I had a 2.5, so almost like 18-day, something like that, trip scheduled in China. Then I was going to come back for another week of vacation in the Philippines before heading back to Saudi. Wasn't going to be in Saudi until April the 7th to the 10th, and that all got canceled because of this awesome genius by Trump, Kushner, and the rest of the Zio Nazis. I don't want to call them Nazis, Zio Bolsheviks. I don't know what you want to call them. I don't want to belittle the Germans. You know what I mean? So nonetheless, you know how they've trained us to say these words, right? But nonetheless, guys, it's what can I say? Then it's, of course, daylight savings time today. I was busy all day yesterday doing a trip to Bahrain, coming back real fast to clear visas. Didn't know it was daylight savings times, but it seems like everything is now stabilized pretty good. So we want to just say thank you to everybody. You can follow us again at revolution.radio, listener sponsored and supported radio. Also, you can go to Rumble and then visit Inside the Eye Live is the station. I just looked into the podcast segment. We were actually at number 2. Number 1 is a Christian thing, like 1.9 thousand concurrent listeners, but we were number 2. That's pretty awesome, guys. That's good advertising. We're looking to catch Lee. I haven't told Lee yet, but I want to catch Lee. He's about 160 to 170 concurrent, so we got a ways to go. Still got 100 to go. So if you are at Rumble, spread the word, get the word out, and once again, hopefully Rumble does a good job with their algorithm equally. And also, what else? What else? Like it, share it, get it out there, get the information out there. We did great last week. We actually set records everywhere last week for the show last week. I think we're going to be down this week because we're down because of I missed a half hour. So it's like, oh, well, sorry about that. We lost a half hour straight up. We're going to lose that for sure. Anyways, where were we? It's 8 o'clock. Almost done with the show, man. We end at 9. Normally I'm just an hour into the show, so that's actually a good thing. Let me find some other stories to talk about. First of all, chat room is moving along okay. in both places. So guys over at Rumble, good to see you. Good to see you over there. Good afternoon, everybody. And what can I say? I want to get some more live stories here. Did you see? Let me talk about this event. There was purportedly, a shooting. Let's see if I have this here under my bookmarks. Yeah. There was a shooting in Bloomfield, West Bloomfield. I don't know what state that was in. Was it Wisconsin, Michigan? I think Michigan. And basically, the guy went into a school, purportedly, again, you can't trust anything in the mainstream media. But as the narrative is being sold to us, the guy was lost his family. He was, I guess, Lebanese, I believe, and he lost his family to an Israeli strike. And so he went into this particular synagogue. Now, the synagogue isn't really innocent. The synagogue is really set up as like a feeder ground for extremists going over to Israel in a very real way. But like he goes through and he starts shooting. There's no school going on. So there's like almost no victim. Maybe one person died along with the shooter. But the amount of police response is freaking unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're looking at hundreds and hundreds. I would have to count them. I don't want to say hundreds and hundreds, but well over 100 cars here. Maybe hundreds upon hundreds of cars responding to this event. Now, you have to understand something. All of these cars don't work for the American people. This is the Jewish police force in America. This is the Jewish security apparatus in America. They're not going to respond to any old shooting like this. You know, if there's a shooting at a school, do you think you're going to see this type of response? This actually, for the American people, is one of the most embarrassing things I have seen all week. You had a random shooting, basically, at an extremist synagogue that was feeding people over to the Middle East to basically steal people's homes. There was only one purported death there. And you're going to send one shooter, by the way, and you're going to send hundreds upon hundreds of units. What's the message you're telling the American people here? I mean, think about it. What is the message? That if you have anything against the Jew, the whole country's going to come out from their defense forces and security forces to say, wow, this is terrible. Look at all of us. This is embarrassing. It's honestly embarrassing, but it tells us that's the power of Jewish power in America today. This is it. One shooter, one death, hundreds upon hundreds of police cars showing up, marked cars, unmarked cars, you name it. What the hell? Now, if this is the actual police response and not just, and it looks like it because I see flashing lights all the way up and down this line. It's like, what the hell is going on in America? I mean, think about it. Now, how are they going to try to peddle this? How are they going to try to push this? Lightning. Stop. I have a kitten here, and she loves to, like, attack my feet. It's fun for her. Stop. I don't know why my feet have become like a target here. I'm trying to do a radio show. But guys, yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely embarrassing. The level of response here for one shooter at one place. It just tells you how dangerous Jewish power really is. Let's see here. Megyn Kelly's been very interesting, to say the least. I hope this goes out without being. Let me check my my things here real quick. Sources, audio mixer. I don't have anything going here. So it should be okay, I hope. I hope this doesn't sound all skewed up and echoey. It doesn't look like it should be, but let's take a look and listen. World background. Yeah, it should be okay. Let's see if this plays okay. But this is Megyn Kelly going after Donald Trump this past week. And it is Lindsey Graham. Where'd it go? Yeah. Yeah, here it is.
Amazing to me to watch them cheerlead this. I mean, we've got 7 U.S. personnel dead. We've got a girls' school, 175 young girls dead in Iran, and there's serious dispute. We'll get into who's behind that, but there's only serious dispute because the president is now saying that it wasn't us, but his own defense secretary over his shoulder is saying it's under investigation. And senators like Kennedy are saying, yeah, it looks like it was us. And the Wall Street Journal and others are reporting.
I don't know if you know, it was us. What they're now saying is that AI identified the target, which is what we said. And because it was gutted, meaning the department that does the targeting was gutted. You don't need a department to do targeting if AI, Palantir, and Thiel and the rest of these clowns are going to be doing the targeting. You don't need hundreds of people doing manual checking of targeting because that school used to be a military site, but it was long ago converted to a school. And that, of course, happens when you have military property around the world. It gets reconverted into civilian uses over time. This is normal. There's a case here. We have King Abdulaziz Airport, I believe it was called. Maybe it wasn't King Abdulaziz. I don't know the name of the airport. But it was a massive airport right here downtown, right in the center of Riyadh. And it used to be the Royal Terminal. But there was a tunnel going underneath, and the tunnel went underneath part of the runway. So the military is saying, it's probably not a good idea to have a tunnel going underneath a runway where our king will be taking his plane over the tunnel. Maybe somebody could get in, blow up the tunnel and the king at the same time. That's not going to look good for us. So what they did, they shut down this base as a military royal base. It used to be a training base where they would fly out trainers from this airport. And then they would move everybody. Well, not they would. They have moved it all out. They shut down the air base, and they're now making a massive park called King Abdulaziz. Or no, King Salman Park. I think it's King Abdulaziz Airport. Now it's King Salman Park. Guys, this is massive. It's a huge freaking park. Right smack dab where everybody's going to get to it. I guarantee it's going to be a hit when they finally open it. So construction, but this was a military base. Now, if this is Pete Hegseth and the Pentagon, they would be sitting there bombing this place because it used to be a military site. So they're going to go bomb the darn thing. And that's exactly what happened with this girls' school. They bombed what was a former military site.
None of this is good, okay? And you would think at a minimum, somebody like Senator Graham would pause and not look so bloodthirsty. How does that make the Trump administration look good when we know that?
Yeah, this is a good point that she's bringing up here, and I brought it up already. The problem with the American right now is that they don't even look human. You should have some empathy. If you are so powerful, you should have a little bit of empathy here. You don't rub it in. But you've got Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, he is so bloodthirsty. He's an embarrassment to the American people. In fact, the entire Trump administration at this stage, from a global perspective, I'm not talking about inside America. I can't speak what's going on inside of America. I know inside of America, you have a really strong Jewish bloc, the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiros, and all these clowns that work within that network. They're pushing, if you don't support the war, you're a traitor, as if somehow these Jews determine for us what is and isn't treasonous behavior, right? But it's real in America. But you look at outside the country, it's like, you freaking morons. Literally, People are so livid right now with what Trump has done. What a complete moron. He's going to go attack Iran because of feeling. Oh, if I didn't invade, they were going to take over the Middle East. Oh, shut the hell up. How did you even become a president with that type of stupidity? Seriously. How do you get to be that stupid? How do you sit there and say, well, if we didn't bomb them first, they were going to attack us? Well, first of all, why would you allow Israel to bomb them to begin with? And you should have told Netanyahu, yeah, if you bomb them, well, we're going to blow you up at the same time as Iran blows you up. Then let's see what little Netanyahu does. But why did they blow him up? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because Trump's raping his daughter as a kid? Ivanka and Trump, Trump is raping Ivanka when she's a kid. Who knows, right? Strange relationship going on there. That's what some of my people used to tell me, that's what they think that happened. Ivanka was getting raped by Daddy Trump. And who knows what else Trump has done, by the way. And then you have also Snowden. I think Snowden coming on. Not Snowden, Julius Assange. Saying the only reason we haven't done anything against Trump is because we don't have anything on him. You know what? What I've learned over time is that you look for the exact opposite of what people are saying. So if they're saying there's nothing on Trump, there must be a shitload of something on Trump. It must be massive because we've been hearing the same thing over and over and over. Well, generally, once that starts to get too pattern-ish, you look for the exact 180-degree opposite. America First, MAGA, it's dead. Frankly, it's dead. What are you going to do? You've got gas prices exploding. You have to release the 170 million barrels from the strategic reserves. Even Japan is going to kick in 90 million from their 400 million. You're allowing now Russia to sell, which I don't have a problem with that, but Russia's going to get a windfall of $150 million a day. They're going to make almost $1 billion every 10 days. Not even that. Every 7 days. They're going to make $1 billion every 7 days. They're going to just clean up. Oh, it is only till April 12th. Okay, let's see you drop it. Another interesting development is Saudi has a pipeline that goes from the east to the west. I don't remember the port. I think it's called Yanbu in the west. But now Saudi is just pumping the oil from the eastern side across the kingdom. It's not as efficient, but I think they can still move a few million barrels a day. So that's helping keep things under control a little bit. Now you're having to beg Iran to transit the Strait of Hormuz, which is still international water. But you're having to beg them because basically it's a shooting ground. Okay, where's your Navy? Where's your support? Of course, it can't be there because they're going to get shot up. Because everything Trump is saying can't be necessarily true. It just doesn't make sense. And then remember the day when you had, let me see if this guy's name. Let me see if I can catch his name.
Let me get this straight. U.S. Congressman Brian Mast.
Yeah, Brian Mast. That's the guy. Let me play this. Let me turn this up a little bit.
Congressman Brian Mast can wear an IDF uniform and walk through the halls of Congress, and no one bats an eye. But when we have a decorated Marine Corps veteran...
Yeah, honestly, think about that, guys. You have an IDF officer as a congressman, and he's walking around your government in his IDF military uniform. If this doesn't tell you that there is a serious problem with the Jewish community at large, then you don't see really the problem we have in America today. Brian Mast is sitting there literally bouncing down the hallways in his IDF uniform. Then you saw this guy coming in, this Marine corporal or what, I think it looks like a lance corporal. He's either a corporal or lance corporal would be my guess based on his, his insignia. Sorry about that, guys. It's been a long week. Yeah, what was this guy? Lance Corporal? Let's see. Play.
And simply goes to the Senate and says no one wants to unalive for Israel. Everyone loses their mind. So those of you who have a problem of him doing this in his Marine Corps uniform, riddle me this. Is it really the uniform that's the problem? Because if you have a problem with a Marine Corps vet using his uniform to protest, but stay silent when a US congressman wears a foreign nation's uniform, then I think we have a bigger problem than a freaking Marine Corps uniform. So for those of you who say he can't protest in a uniform, UCMJ, where is your outrage for a foreign nation's uniform in our Congress? I'll sit here and wait because I haven't heard one of you speak out against this man. So this.
So you can see what's going on. The American people are waking up in a very big way. And this, I guess if we listen to the Hopium crowd, if I'm going to write the Hopium script, Trump had to show you. He had to involve the whole world in this war to show you how deep the corruption really was. Otherwise, you would never have known Israel was so deep in the U.S. infrastructure of the government. It's like, yeah, no, we knew that, dude. You didn't have to show us shit. You could have just started arresting people a long time ago and stop giving them pardons when you do arrest and convict these people. How about the time you had Trump? And here's the thing. I really believe this is true now. If you notice, in virtually every picture that's going on, there's a Jew standing behind and off to the side of the political personality. For instance, Trump is up there talking about whatever, and he mentions child rape. And you got Howard Lutnick in the back is just laughing his head off, laughing his ass off. It's like, what the hell's going on here? Or you'll have Jared Kushner off to the side. Or if you see them screwing the Roman wall in Jerusalem, there's always this Jew off to the side overseeing everything. And it's almost creepy when you think about it. But it's almost like these guys are given no free rein. They literally are under control, under domination. There's someone literally right there at all times, monitoring everything they say, everything they do. It's very strange, very creepy in a way. Hegseth, he's been talking a big game, but we all know this. But here's Hegseth telling us why we're at war.
Israel. Your mission is being executed with unmatched skill.
Let me go back.
Steadfast partner, Israel. Your mission is being executed with unmatched skill and iron determination. Fighting shoulder to shoulder with such a capable ally is a true force multiplier and a breath of fresh air. We salute your courage and your contribution.
I mean, there is actually saying your mission, the Israeli mission is being executed by the American people. You know, we've lost, I don't know, $10, $11 billion so far. Okay. What about the bombs being dropped on Lebanon right now? See, to the American people, you should really be asking yourself, when you can't afford groceries or you can't afford to even, let's say you're doing okay, but you can't afford a trip with your family, or you've got tons of homelessness making problems everywhere. Yet your government has all of this money to just burn on killing schoolgirls because you don't know how to check what's the building, or killing who knows who inside of Tehran, or going after, let's say, storage tanks that creates a massive environmental disaster because you're just ghoulish and you want to just destroy it because, oh, you can. It's like, well, all that's your money. So they can't afford to build a decent rail system to get you around the country. You know, infrastructure is so important to a successful country. That's why they built the interstate highway system back in the day. You needed a good, strong infrastructure to move goods and military goods too across the country. Yesterday, I took a Saudi Arabia railway train to Dammam. It was comfortable. I had to go first class. It was okay. To be honest with you, it was okay. I think China does a better job, but it was okay. So I go to Dammam, come back clean, quiet, professional. It's okay. It's good. Um, what about America? You can't even build an inner city type of system in America. They don't have Amtrak? It's all 50 years old. Nothing's been upgraded. Nothing really is serious, what I can tell. I haven't been there in 20 years. Maybe they have. But they have tons of money to go blow up stuff because they were going to take over the world. Again, please, the insults, it's like you cannot be this stupid. But the American politician, people like a Trump, they talk to their base as if they're just complete morons. And in a way, I guess they are because they cheer. But I have seen, whether it's true or not, I don't know, because again, it's social media. But I've seen Trump getting up on stage now getting heavily booed. So it's all becoming interesting. All right, it's The Fetch, everybody. Back with now, wow, the final half hour right after this. Yeah, cute perspectives over on Rumble, everybody. And let's hopefully this is the right one for you, and it's not. So be patient while I set it up real quick. I'll stay with you, though. All right, everybody. And it looks like we're back. Okay, welcome back. Inside the Eye Live. Ling Ling, come. Come on. Come. You know, it's cat time. Ling Ling, come. She's right here, but I can't. Come. All right. Miss Queen. Hello. Say hello. Yeah? Okay, come on. Go on. She likes to chill right here while I'm doing the show. This is a good spot for her. Yeah, it's still connected. Sometimes that's a disconnection notice. Okay, anyway, she likes to chill right here. She's giving herself a bath right now, so that's pretty good. All right. Hi, Ling Ning. She was early this week. We had a lot of rain this week here in Saudi Arabia. You know, it's I think it was 3 days worth of inclement weather. Quite a lot of rain. Very cool, chilly, actually. Nighttime rain, daytime rain. You know, just lots of cells coming through. And this little one, she wanted to go out. It's like, what the hell you want to go out for, man? It's raining. She's probably like saying, yeah, but it's nice. It's raining. So no, now she's like chilling. She's back to the house. So anyway, it's cool. Good to see you, Ling Ning. All right. Let's see here. I don't know if you've seen I just discussed it in the last segment, by the way, but if you look at the shipping, live trackers of shipping, you're going to see this long line of ships heading towards the western port of Saudi Arabia. It's actually visible. You can just see them lining up. And so what's happening is that, you know, Saudis are very smart people. You know, I get upset people. I don't know if you've heard of him, Orion Dawson. He was a big guy back in the day. He's got a big following now. But he's so stupid when it comes to really what's going on in the Middle East. And what's really weird is you have all these personalities will turn to Orion Dawson to get their information about the Middle East. And this guy's like, oh, the Saudis are stupid. They're goat, effers and all. You know, it's just in the most crude, stupid way. It's like, well, first of all, they were trained by people like us, and they've excelled because it's their country. It's their job 24/7. So they're really, really smart people. You get not true 20 years ago, but now, no, they're very, very smart people. They get it. Very shrewd. They're very calculated. They understand the whole game. And to sell it otherwise, you're just underestimating your opponent if you view them as an opponent. For me, they're an ally. They're a friend of ours, and you want smart people on your team. Okay? You want smart people on your team. You don't want to be like the Christian Zionists or the MAGA movement where you want everybody to be stupid and just cheer for whatever stupidity is being talked about that day. You want smart people. So what's happening now is that, and we mentioned this from day one, is that there is a kind of a secret pact going on. And this is my read only as a geopolitical... Thank you. A geopolitical... There, she just sat down. She wants attention. There you go, sweetie. There's a geopolitical alliance, unspoken, okay, between Iran, Saudi, elements maybe of Patriot America, which is not the people in charge right now, but elements of Patriot America. And then you have the Israeli America aligned with India, Dubai, and Israel. So you have two hidden blocks going on in the Middle East. This is my nuanced take of what's going on. So, excuse me, Israel, Dubai, India are working together along with America, Israel. And America, Israel is dominant and has been for a very long time. The white hats, the gray America, the ones you don't see, Saudi, Iran, are more working together because we all know that most of the problems we face in the world and especially here in the Middle East are brought to us not by Iran, but by the Israelis and the the Black Ops CIA, Black Ops FBI, etc., and the Israeli first crowd in America. So there's a big battle going on between these two forces. Where and how, for instance, Iran is targeting Israel and America, who really knows, right? Trump says yesterday that, yeah, we help Ukraine and Russia and China help Iran. It's kind of a normal thing. This happens and we all deny it. But yeah, it's just the way it works. So he's actually recognizing a true thing here, a true strategic thing. Is Russia helping? Absolutely. Russia has come out and Lavrov have both come out and said that their intention is to make future moves against Iran completely impossible. Impossible. It would be just too costly. It's already getting extremely costly for the Americans. We lost a tanker yesterday, for instance. I don't know if you know, but tankers, they don't even have parachutes on those aircraft. So if it gets hit, they're dead. They can't even bail out of the aircraft. There's no training to bail out of the aircraft. They are trained to disembark the aircraft under, let's say, emergency like crash situations, but there's no parachute. So they cannot leave the airplane. They're going down with the ship whether they like it or not. There's no safety net. This was all determined because for the longest time, the tankers are operating behind enemy lines or behind U.S. lines. Nobody can touch them, so they deem the risk not there. With this type of forward power projection, however, the tankers are actually flying over hostile territory. They've moved it from working over Iraq now to where they're basically working over Saudi Arabia. There's a northeast corridor where you can see them flying in a line. So Saudi is working two sides, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't have anybody confirming this, but how much money is Saudi going to make if they have the primary outlet for oil, them and Russia? And we know how close Russia and Saudi have been working together. So to go after Dubai and to shut down the straits, it's not good for Iraq. But Iraq, if they want, they could increase the pipelines out of the Gulf and move it into Turkey. That's one way. Israel, there used to be a pipeline that went from Iraq to Israel, but Saddam shut that thing down. It wasn't a giant pipe, but there was one going from Iraq to Israel, which got shut down. A lot of this geopolitical maneuvering typically involves around oil and pipelines. In the case of this battle, the reality of it is that America is controlled by Israel, by and large. The shooting, for instance, you saw in West Bloomfield or whatever in Michigan, the response kind of tells you You know what I mean? One Jew, and look at the America's whole entire security apparatus for 200 miles around comes flying in to. I'm just befuddled at how stupid that actually looked, but it just tells me something. Um, but no, Iran, not Iran. Iran is still shipping oil, by the way, no problem. In fact, their oil shipments have gone up. Okay. Saudi is going to rake in tons of extra value because they're going to start shipping out of the Yanbu pipeline on the western side of the country. They're taking out the Emiratis. Without the Emiratis, you're not going to have as much problems with the Yemenis. Now, the Yemenis may still go after the United States, but they've been very quiet this entire time. The Iranians probably are going to take out anything that is U.S. associated because makes sense. They're going to look at what's going on in the Persian Gulf and, just basically make it impossible for the United States to operate there. There was a woman, American lady, on social media, and she was like talking about Iran and the Middle East. And she's something like saying, yeah, it's called the Persian Gulf for a reason. It belongs to Persia. And I'm like, you got to be careful with stuff like that, actually, because here in the Middle East, in Saudi, it's like America. They don't call it the Persian Gulf; they call it the Arabian Gulf. So you got to be careful, to be honest. How you quote things, tweet things out, stuff like that. You got to be kind of careful sometimes. You don't want to piss off people. You know what I mean? Trump wants to deplatform you if you don't call it the Gulf of America. What do you mean it's not the Gulf of America? Insane. Hey guys, we only got about 15 minutes in the show to go. We're going to be doing a bonus segment on Rumble. So join us at Rumble at Inside the Eye Live. Just go to Rumble, search Inside the Eye Live, and you can just plug into the station there. Don't forget to follow the channel so you can get updates when we're going to go live. We hope to do more shows, to be honest with you. It's difficult with time, but we do hope to do more shows. But join us over at Rumble. And then, of course, InsideTheEyeLive.com. Click on the live chat button. Telephone lines 213-401-2617. That's 213-401-2617. It looks like the network is stabilized. I haven't had any problems for a while. That's a good thing. All right. Let's see what's happening out there real quick. The tanker traffic, this is a big deal. Just watch what happens. What I don't get about the Israelis, excuse me, and the Americans is like, we're actually following this geopolitic type of mindset around the Bible, and whether you bless Israel, you're going to be blessed. It's like, have you ever been blessed with Israel? Never. But no, it's like weird. It's like, you know what? All these nutcases are injecting their religion into our secular politics. It's like, shut the frick up. Get out of politics, guys. Just get the hell off. Bill Mitchell, if you remember Bill Mitchell, he was a big guy up in the run-up to Trump. He actually, back in the day when I was somebody, he blocked me. He says here, he's saying that Iran is going to lose the war. I don't think so. Iran is basically saying very simply, the war is going to continue unless all the bases are removed. Maybe they don't need to bring Netanyahu to the Hague because maybe they got him. Maybe they killed him. The peace board for Gaza is completely dismantled. Here in the Middle East, a lot of questions are coming up about Jared Kushner's peace board because they're saying, you know what, you flew in here, you extracted billions of dollars. Where is the money? What's going on? I mean, where is it? And furthermore, with you doing these unilateral wars, we want no part of your peace board. Where's our money? Maybe you need to give it back to us. So there's a lot of questions going on about the shenanigans with what do you call it? The Gaza peace board and what's happening with the Jewish side of America right now. Um, People out there are really pissed at the Israelis, by the way, and you guys probably know that. But it's like people are playing up this Gaza thing. And as they show the complete utter destruction of Gaza, 83% of Gaza was destroyed. Can you believe that? 83% of a very fairly ancient city, by the way, completely leveled, guys. Systematically, 2,000 pound bomb at a time. They're trying to tell you, oh, it's precision strikes. Yeah, it was precisely done to obliterate the entire place. 83%. And I think, okay, where are the people now? They say there's only 53 or let's say 73,000 people died. Okay, I'm looking at this massive a number of civilian infrastructure in Gaza with all these buildings destroyed. Where are the people? Shouldn't we have massive tent cities somewhere? Where are the people? Where's the census of what happened in Gaza? So people are saying, you know what? I am all for this war with Iran. And I want to see Iran totally obliterate Tel Aviv and level Israel to the same degree that the Jewish people did to Gaza. So you see, what I was talking about was leveling Gaza, Tel Aviv, as a rhetorical play against what they did to us on 9/11. That mindset, see, you put it into the ether, and now it's like people are saying, yes. They're not even joking either. They're saying, yes, it's not even theoretical. I'm for this war. I want to see Tel Aviv completely leveled to the same degree that the Israelis did to Gaza. And so the Iranians are like, they got a lot of support out there. They have support within America, which I told you there's two sides of America. One of those sides is MAGA, the real Make America Great Again, the nationalist side of America, which isn't really MAGA. MAGA was always MAGA. MAGA was always Make Israel Great. After we do that, then we can talk about making America great. But Israel always came first within MAGA. That we always understood. For the nationalist side of this, a lot of people are saying, look, the Iranians are fighting to help free the American people. See, Trump is saying, we're doing this to help everybody. But everyone's like, no, the Iranians are actually fighting to help us Americans. And the only way to help us Americans is to make the American Jewish pedophile Epstein network completely get lost. I mean, completely lose. I mean, they're signing bombs, you know. They're signing bombs, you know, this is for the victims of Epstein Island. It's like, okay, they get it. Yesterday, you had Laranjani, which is like the National Security Director, Pereshkian or something like that. I don't know his name, Pereshkian or something. The president of Iran. They were participating in the Quds Day protests, not really protests, but Quds Day, I don't know. It's not a protest. It's like a recognition day, I guess. And they're out on the streets, shaking hands, taking selfies with their people. If the people were really so angry with these leaders, would the leaders be out there in the middle of the street taking selfies with these people? There's no security around whatsoever that we can see in the videos, in the pictures. They're just out there literally just taking pictures, taking selfies with their people. And Trump and the rest of the Jewish people say, well, they need to revolt. They're not going to rise up. They're out there taking selfies with them. That's like, you know what? We're all pissed off at Trump. We're not going to call for Trump to be, quote unquote, overthrown. Even though he may, you know what I mean? It's like, but we're not going to call for Trump to be overthrown. And if we were going to call for Trump to be overthrown, wouldn't that kind of make me a criminal in my own country? Especially if I said we need to overthrow Trump militarily. Wouldn't that make me a criminal? So basically you got criminals like Trump, Hegseth, other people and neocons in this administration. They're like calling for the Iranian people to engage in criminal activity that would be completely smashed if this were America itself. It's like, you guys are so disconnected from any sense of reality. I honestly don't understand how you even have an audience. How does a Ben Shapiro have an audience? This guy's a nutcase. Literally, he's just a nutcase. Mark Levin, he's an interesting guy. He's this big positive Oh, this is interesting. This came just through Emirates Airlines. They intend to resume 100% of operations as of March 29th. I hope they do, obviously. I don't like to see the air corridors down. For me to get out of here, guys, the prices are so expensive, by the way. I won't be able to even afford to get out. Yes, I can get out. I can afford, but I ain't going to pay the price, okay? I can't afford to get out until like middle of April. Prices are expected to be elevated at least through the middle of April. But Emirates Airlines saying they're going to resume 100%. Okay, that's very good. That's really very, very good. Very good. Hope so. I really hope so. But yeah, people are sitting there posting out there like, yeah, we want to see Tel Aviv absolutely completely destroyed. You know, you have pictures, people driving through Gaza. Everything's obliterated. But where are the people? Where are the 10 cities where the 2 million people used to live? Have they already been ethnically cleansed? Are there elements where they still have some force there? But where are the people? This is a very important issue to me. Where are the Gazan people? Have they done a census, a real quick census to see how many people are left? I think this is an important thing to know just the level of barbarity that Jewish people truly are. And they are. They'll sit there and say, well, don't start a war. I don't know if you've seen Jews like trying to troll people. But people mention this, the Gaza destruction. You have Jews up there saying, well, don't start a war. And it's like, what do you mean, don't start a war? This is proportionality? This is the jackass mentality of Jewish people? This is your idea of proportionality? See, when you show this level of proportionality, guys, there's zero sympathy for Jewish people anywhere. What the hell are we sending hundreds upon hundreds of police response to a single shooting at a mosque or a synagogue? For what? When we're looking at this type of behavior. Oh, I forgot. I didn't forget. They all work for the Israelis. As we all know, 5,000 troops are heading over to the Middle East. What for? They've actually started to use the A-10s. We talked about the A-10s to start this whole mess on day one. Those are all over there. Let's see if I can pick that up. It's not ringing through. Try it again. It didn't ring through to my... I got lights in my face. I can't see. Someone's trying to call the show, but it's not ringing through to the laptop for some reason. Yeah, maybe I got to redo the PBX. You know, it's costly, guys, to run these shows, actually. It costs you more money than I realize. Tell you, just to run it with this new network is more expensive for sure. Anyways, very costly, guys. Let's see, where are we at? We got about 3 minutes to go in the show, and then we're going to do a Rumble. If you go to a Rumble, we'll do a 30-minute add-on to the show. But we want to kind of, I guess, close with this. The United States is in a war. It's not an excursion. When I heard Trump talk about the other day, this is just an excursion. Oh, it's going to make it more peaceful. No, it's really not. The only way you're going to make the Middle East more peaceful is taking out Israel. Bottom line. And there's been politicians here in Saudi Arabia who have mentioned this also. So there are people that believe us. You know, Trump, for the most part, has very little respect left. To be honest with you, they see him as a complete failure. He's still powerful. You got to deal with the guy. He's impetuous. You don't know what he's going to do tomorrow. That doesn't mean they respect him. They have to, quote unquote, respect him only because he's a loose cannon. You don't know what he's going to do the next day. But that doesn't mean that they like him because they actually like the guy. This is falling away very fast. He's cost the Middle East a ton of money, a lot of headache for everybody here. And he didn't consult anybody. He just starts a war because, well, Israel said so. It's like, okay, that was kind of stupid, don't you think? But that's Trump, you know. very difficult situation in the Middle East still, obviously. We'll see how it plays out. I'm still watching to see what they do with the tankers. Is Iran going to start taking out the tankers? They should, if they want to basically nullify the Air Force. If you can, I don't know why they're not just taking out the Israeli aircraft, taking out the Israeli air bases. It's like, okay, Tel Aviv is nice. It's got good stuff, but that's not winning the war for you. You have to take out the aircraft, okay? My idea is that, America doesn't have full air superiority. It's just Iran is so big also. They don't have the ability to cover it with air defense systems either. So could be a problem there. All right, guys, that's the end of the show for Revolution Radio. Join us over at Rumble. We'll do a 30-minute bonus segment right after this.